as the story develops and he realizes there's other mutants out there, because before that he didn't realize, he starts to formulate his greater plan, which we see in later X-Men's, which is essentially to wipe out the human race and have mutants take over. They are the sort of Homo sapiens to the Neanderthal, and that's what he believes. And he also believes that humans, well, basic sort of human nature and behavior, as history has taught him, and if we look in the history books, he's right, that we're just sort of very destructive and self-destructive, and essentially a flawed race, and the mutants is the next sort of stage up. I just think with Eric, and later becomes Magneto, nothing is going to stop him, and he won't let a friendship sort of stand in the way. I think he's been through so much that, as I say, the end goal is what's most important to him, and he'll think, it's like kind of that idea, well, I'll sacrifice, 100 to save 1,000, and that's kind of his philosophy. He hasn't fully accessed his powers. Even when we meet him at the beginning, I mean, he can sort of, do pretty impressive things, but not to the level of lifting a building or lifting, something like a satellite dish. And through sort of Charles, and Charles's sort of intelligence and sensitivity to each sort of an individual mutant, he manages to sort of draw much more of a powerful creature out of Eric, which is kind of detrimental to him as well, which is the kind of ironic thing. Without Charles, Eric wouldn't have become the sort of ultimate weapon that he is by the end of this film. At the beginning, you just see these people, especially the younger lot, and they're embarrassed and they feel awkward, and they feel, like they're sort of misfits in society, which is kind of the interesting thing about these comic books. It's kind of like that idea of sort of prejudice and racism, all these sort of underlying themes within a sort of, comic book superhero fantasy story, which is quite cool, I think. You have all those sort of human elements present, insecurity and that thing of sort of growing into yourself. I mean, if you just sort of look at that as a metaphor for all of us, how many people actually do grow into their full potential by actually just feeling confident in who they are, as opposed to living their lives according to what other people think. He's very distrustful and very wary of any new elements in his life, let alone sort of getting close to someone again, on a purely emotional level. I don't think he actually can allow himself to do that anymore. And he does with Charles as much as he can with anyone. But, so that idea of them jumping in and becoming sort of best friends immediately just didn't seem right, and we wanted to sort of have more of an intelligent path to get there. And then sort of, have the ultimate sort of, hopefully touching moment when they sort of, when they do break. Hopefully the audience will be like, oh no, great things could have happened if these two men with sort of opposing theories did join forces.